there and welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna be listening to Ella Langley's super mega blockbuster song called Choosin, Texas that I wasn't aware of because I'm not American and I happened to only learn about this track thanks to X and how everybody was happy by the fact that this song is a super hit over there and it's been a hit for several weeks now at the moment of me recording this video. Then I asked around and some of my friends told me that the track is actually good, so I decided to give it a try. And, well, you're gonna see my reaction here and what I had to say regarding the production of the track. So with that being said, let's get into it. But before we go, if this is your first time on the channel, I welcome you because in here we analyze the music that we love from the perspective of an active musician and professional music producer, but using language that everybody can understand in a way to expand knowledge when it comes to music production, songwriting, and of course, music appreciation. So if this is your jam, let's rock and roll. Here we go. Okay, so here we go. Choosin, Texas by Ella Langley.
Just when I thought I got him to fall in love with Tennessee, I should've known better than to take him back to Abilene. I put him right back into her arms. I wasn't a match for that kind of spark. She's from Texas, I can tell by stepping round the room, and judging by the smile that's written on his face, there's nothing I can do. It doesn't take a crystal ball to see a cowboy always finds a way to leave. Drinking Jack all by myself. He's choosing Texas, I can tell. I guess he forgot.
Sorry for interrupting, but you know the drill. First and foremost, what kind of Fleetwood Mac meets Willie Nelson is this? I wasn't expecting this, to be frank, because of course the female vocals are fantastic. She's a great singer. I can tell that she actually has a very powerful voice. The thing is that in this case, this track doesn't feel like it's gonna be a great showcase for her to display her prowess as a singer. If you happen to be a fan of hers and you know which song would be a good one for me to see that particular aspect of her voice, please tell me in the comment section down below. But now, coming back to the song itself, the arrangement is very good. I gotta tell you that I was very surprised right out of the bat, because the instrumentation is very much beautifully distributed across the stereo spectrum. It's something that I was trying to draw your attention to while the track was playing at the very beginning. When you could hear certain instruments, for example, the electric guitar coming from the right side, while the the pedal steel guitar was coming from the left, creating this beautiful, kind of expansive sound that creates this, opens up the center, which is what we usually hear as mono information, for the powerful, punchy kick drum and bass. This is a very powerful sounding mix. I wasn't expecting this as well. And also, speaking of the mix, it has plenty of punchiness coming from compression, which is something that we use here in the music production world plenty. The thing is that this kind of approach to compression makes me think of something a bit more aggressive sounding like rock music. And since we're dealing with this kind of pop-oriented country style of music, it kind of makes sense having this huge and punchy low end, which is something that we're going to be discussing later on when we go to the mix analysis. Now, love the vocal arrangements. Whenever she was singing those very catchy choruses, you could hear this fantastic and huge sounding vocal arrangement that makes the entire thing feel like a very sing-along track. Surprising. Well, you see, I'm running out of words to say. This is an excellent sounding track, and so far I'm enjoying it. And I gotta tell you that the sound of the mix is excellent. If you happen to know who is behind the mix for this particular record, please let me know, because I happen to be a sucker for those details as well. And also, the instrumentalist, all of them are fantastic. They are great. Probably she got the best in the business. So if you happen to know the names as well, please share them with the Thought Police underneath this video. Now, let's continue rocking because the track is actually very good. And as I said before, it truly makes me think of Fleetwood Mac. Even her looks. I'm going to discuss that later. Here we go.
About the Smoky Mountain rain, the old hang tunes, the Memphis blues we used to sing. He always loved Amarillo by morning. I should have taken that as a warning. She's from Texas, I can tell by the way he's two-stepping round the room. And judging by the smile that's written on his face, there's nothing I can do. It doesn't take a crystal ball to see. A cowboy always finds a way to leave. Drinking Jack all by myself. He's choosing Texas, I can tell. When I'm eastbound and down and I can't help but cry, 'cause I-40 gets lonelier with every mile. I'll know that his mind wasn't never gonna change, 'cause his heart still belongs to the Lone Star State. She's from Texas, I can tell by the way he's two-stepping round the room. And judging by the smile that's written on his face, there's nothing I can do. No, yeah, it doesn't take a crystal ball to see. A cowboy always finds a way to leave. Drinking Jack all by myself. He's choosing Texas, I can tell. No, drinking Jack all by myself. He's choosing Texas, I can tell. Come on, baby. Oh, yeah. Just when I thought I got him to fall in love with Tennessee.
Well, I loved it. That was a great track. I happen to be a huge fan of Fleetwood Mac. And this track, as I said in the first section of this analysis, it really makes me think of this weird mix between Willie Nelson and Fleetwood Mac. Because of this, of course, it's country music, but it has those pop sensibilities that I truly like. And maybe not a rocker, of course. And her vocal style, it's kind of a interesting blend between that kind of pop-oriented plus the country thing. Truly a great voice. I was very much enjoying it the entirety of the time. That particular section when they did this beautiful modulation right after the bridge, I truly like the way she sang that section because her voice is melodic, obviously, but also very feminine and heartfelt to a certain degree. It's extremely expressive. That's what I was trying to say. Very, very expressive and makes sense. Well, if you consider the lyrics as well, and also the beautiful arrangement. Once again, I gotta praise the musicians because this is an excellent track. Also, you saw that the acoustic guitar was also very much used in the side of the stereo field, and it truly added this rhythmical thing, which is something I like to do as well when I am producing music here. Using acoustic guitars as some form of percussive element rather than a guitar, because this shuk that you could hear while strumming the strings creates this beautiful percussive element that makes this kind of music and this kind of quasi ballad a little bit more kind of rhythmical and beautiful sounding. Now, speaking of something beautiful, let's take a look at the screen because we're going to get to the nerdy part of this analysis. And that's the reason why you're here. So, in front of us, we got Decibel, which happens to be the tool that we have been looking at from the entirety of this video. And this is a tool that we use to analyze music through the use of a visual medium. The first section we're going to be taking a look is going to be our frequency range analyzer, which is where I have my mouse over. And this is showing us how loud each of the frequencies that are part of the human hearing range, which stands from 20 hertz, the lowest we can hear, all the way down to 20,000 hertz. When we get under 20 is subsonic, above 20,000 is supersonic, and both of them are inaudible, okay? So, unless you're a dog. But, sorry, that was a very stupid joke, but you get it. If, what we got here, it's this white line representing the loudness of each of the frequencies. And beginning from the low end, as I was saying at the beginning of this discussion, the low end in this track is huge, it's gigantic, it's insanely big, and that's for a good reason. Because remember when I was saying that the low end and the kick and the bass is kind of huge and powerful, it's because of this. If you pay attention to the analyzer, we got a huge, if not the highest point in volume of the frequencies that are part of the sound that we just heard. This is the loudest part of the track, and we got plenty of punchiness here. And I wasn't expecting this to be this high, but it makes sense. While listening to this track, over here in the studio, I'm rocking a very good system, and I have a very hefty subwoofer here. And I was like, damn, this is punchy, because I could hear plenty of low end. And this section, this particular curvature, is actually confirming what I was hearing. And then, if we get to this section, which is still kind of containing the low mids, we get the kind of, how can I put it, meaty sound of the music, which is where we get this kind of robustness, for lack of a better term. And it's where you will find some of the, of course, most of the bass as well, but also some of the guitars and a little bit of the percussions, the snare in particular. But here's the interesting section. The high end is very much rolled off. We don't have that much hype on the high end, and even the high mids. That's one of the reasons why some people may say that this is a kind of warm sounding mix. And I happen to agree with that terminology, because it kind of gives this feeling of being a little bit more closer to you, kind of intimate, and also kind of cozy, don't you think? And this track truly sounds like that, especially because her voice is sweet and melodic. It kind of makes sense that the mix for the mix to be this or go in this direction. Okay, so we got this kind of beautiful roll-off that is very musical and makes sense from an emotional standpoint, and we can hear that probably this section is where some of the energy of her voice was at its highest point. Sorry, words are hard at time. And speaking of the voice, once again, it has a little bit of effects, but it's not drowning in effects. The first one that comes to mind, and probably the only one that I could obviously hear, because there's many more things happening, is the use of reverb. Reverb is something like this. Reverb, okay? And as you can imagine, it's a tool that we use here in the music production world to create the illusion of a space. And probably she recorded this in a beautiful sounding studio, maybe Blackbird. I don't know why I have that in my head, but being country music, maybe it might be the case. Her voice maybe was recorded in a very controlled environment, super tight sounding, for it to be enhanced later with all sorts of effects. And in this case, I think they added just the right amount of this reverberation that makes her voice sound kind of more dreamy, if that makes sense to you, but without sounding like she's inside of a cathedral, right? Or coming down from heaven, okay? Now, coming back to the analyzer, now it's time to take a look at the second section. And here is where we're going to be discussing something that I consider to be the most important part of music, and music production for that matter, which is dynamic range. Dynamic range stands for the difference between the highest point in volume in contrast to the loudest point in volume across time of any given track, okay? And in this case, we are going to be discussing this from the perspective of how, emotionally speaking, loudness impacts us as listeners, okay? When something is quieter, it feels more intimate, a little bit more closer to you. But when something is louder, it's more impactful and obnoxious in my case, okay? But it's also energetic and much more exciting sounding. So, here's the drill. You can imagine that now that I explained that to you, the use of this of intensity throughout the track will create moments. And here, this blue blob represents how loud that track was at any given point across time, right? Of this particular song. And the introduction, it gotta be loud and right in your face, because it gotta bring you into this song's world, and it does it in a space. I gotta tell you that it makes sense because the harmony played by the and melody played by the instrumentation at the beginning is very catchy. It's kind of earwormy, if that makes sense to you. And as a guitar player myself, it's the kind of stuff that truly makes me look at the band while playing because it's properly done. And we got it here. But then you can see that here's the moment in which they introduce her voice and the band drops, leaving her by her own and playing. I think, if I recall correctly, playing alongside a much more softer sounding ensemble of musicians. And here you can tell that the music is little by little preparing for the introduction of the first chorus. And you can see that it ramps up quite dramatically for it to become this catchy sing-along chorus that makes total sense. This, what you just saw here, is the reason why the first chorus hits you that hard. Because they prepared the song to get to that point just by playing around with the faders while the track was mixed. And it's a very common trick, okay? Don't think that this is unique to this. It's actually business as usual. Now, let's take a look at the second section of our analyzer, or this particular performance. You can see that the track, it decided, or intelligently, used the chorus as now the next standard point in volume. Because you can see a slight drop here, which is the introduction of the second verse, but since it was a very short verse, half the space or the size of the first one, we get now the introduction of the second chorus, and see how massive this chorus becomes. Super loud, and I'm gonna keep my mouse here, but you can see that it's almost, this high. Huge increment in volume, and that's the reason, once again, why this chorus hits you even harder. And since they take advantage of this section or this particular chorus to introduce the bridge is at that particular point in energy. Why? See what happens next. When they leave her by her own, truly by her own, singing that beautiful melody, reintroducing the final chorus. Huge, excellently done. Because this truly, it's like a, you know what I mean, right? It's like getting a little bit backwards for you to jump even a longer distance, right? To get momentum, develop momentum. And you get it here. And the final chorus is just bam! It's not only sing-along. At that point, you are fully invested in what the music has to offer and is presenting to you. Amazing, amazing. Just a very great showcase of not only musicality, but also high skills in music production. The arrangement, again, I can't keep praising it. It's just fantastic. Her voice, excellent. And yeah, as I was saying, that's the reason why I was thinking of Fleetwood Mac so much. She makes me think of a brunette version of Stevie Nicks. Her voice is very different, of course, but it truly makes me think of her. And I find her to be pretty, of course. So that might be playing tricks in my head, but you get me. Okay, so with that being said, I liked it. I liked it very much. And the entire thing is extremely well crafted. If you happen to be a fan and you know another song that I should analyze from this particular album by hers, please let me know in the comment section down below, because I am now starting to enjoy what she has to offer. With that being said, thank you for joining, thank you for watching, and if you happen to be here for the first time, consider subscribing, because I do this every week, and we go from this to all the way down to the darkest and meanest of metal, because that's what we do here. Because the idea is for you to learn as much as, or for me to share as much as I can, so you can enjoy your music even further. So with that being said, the only thing left to be reminded is that you should never let anybody tell you what to dream about, and remember that I will see you when I see you.